Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining Ghost Education 101. And tonight we have an amazing show for you guys. I'm joined with by Philip. It's been a while since he's been on with me, at
Been a
least
while.
together.
You missed me terribly, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun and exciting show today. And we have Chris and Kristen with us. They are the host of Dark Horse Paranormal Productions. And I just got to say, I love this name. It's Bigfoot and the Bunny. And they have an amazing show, and they've come here to share their story and to talk about different things, all things paranormal. That's what we're all about. So welcome, Chris and Kristen. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Right on. Thank you.
So,
Glad to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting me.
definitely.
And I wanted, go ahead.
No, I said we couldn't wait to come on.
Oh, yeah,
We're
actually,
fun people.
right, yeah. And like we had said, we're always laid back and relaxed, and we just kind of go with the flow with the show. So feel free to talk about anything you want. I know you wanted to talk about, it was an origin story, you said?
An origin story, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a sort of an origin story. And our deal is like, we both had haunted childhoods, and we went kind of different directions with it. I don't know if you noticed this, but a lot of our guests that we have on our show have also had haunted childhoods, and it seems to have some kind of impact on them later in life. They either are really drawn to it or they're kind of repelled, right? And in our case, I was kind of drawn to these things where Kristen was kind of repelled. We actually dated for a couple of years before we ever did anything paranormal.
Yes, I'm wasn't too enthusiastic with it. So.
No, not at all. Right. I had been on teams and I did that stuff for a long time. And then I kind of got out of it because basically Kristen wasn't really that into it.
That's why you got out of it? I didn't know.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of. But she lives in an old house.
I do.
And that house is somewhat inhabited by spirits. And things were happening in the house. You want to tell them about like the refrigerator?
1740 house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the one we were speaking about before.
Yes.
We're from England, by the way.
1740. That is amazing.
So yes, we're from
Excuse
New
me.
England. We're from Massachusetts. Chris grew up also in Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
We're in the heart of the
well.
Bridgewater Triangle, basically.
Yes. So my house, it was built in 1740, and it just, when I moved there, I could feel little things here and there. But as I got to go on living there, I've been there for 12 years now. Certain little things just started to happen. And I don't know, it just, even my kids, I have 5 kids, and they all have heard things, seen things. I was going to start with my first house, but I'll start with this one. So I have a residual, we believe to be a man spirit that actually slams my bottom door and walks up our stairs. And it's not a constant thing, and it's not very accurate if you want to like write stuff down or whatever when it happens, full moons, whatever, nope, it's whenever he bloody feels like it. And
right, and she lives on the second floor, so there's a flight of stairs going
up because it's a real old farmhouse. So we have that. My son Jacob, he's 14 at the time. He was about 12. He had Skylanders. I don't know if anybody out there knows what Skylanders are.
The little figures?
It's the little figurines, and they have a little, it's actually called a portal. Yes.
You put them on the portal and it puts into an Xbox.
Yeah, the portal lights up. You put it in the Xbox and you can play.
It's an O.
Well, the figures come to life, honestly.
Well, Jacob had Jacob had his Xbox in his room for a few days, and the Skylanders stood outside. So in order for them to light up or anything, you have to plug it into the Xbox, like I said. So one night I'm sitting there, we're in my living room where the Skylanders are, and his room is off to the side. And he comes out and he goes, Mom, and I was watching TV. I'm like, yes. And he goes, do you see that? And the portal was actually lit up.
It's not plugged in.
It was not plugged in.
It's USB powered, and it plugs into
the Xbox.
And it lit up. And that
And
wasn't the only thing. There was a lot
I
of
mean,
activity
I've
going on.
had my refrigerator open, and I've
yeah.
yelled at children for
Things
that.
are kind of like
and
flying off the refrigerator.
So
I've-
what when
Right.
you looked over and saw this, do you go, "Oh wow, that's cool," or do you go, "What the heck?" I mean, what was your
Yeah, like, what do I do about this? I'm like, well, start talking to the spirits, and
which I do anyway.
you do that again?
it
Yeah.
wasn't the best advice because it seemed to intensify everything.
Yeah, so it really did. He tells me that. I'm like, well, I talk to like my dad every day. My dad passed away in 2012, and I talk to my grandparents. It doesn't matter. I talk to myself, for God's sake. So it's just, he's like, just talk to them. I'm like, I don't know who them is, and I don't want to do this because of what had happened in our childhood. So
Yeah. Well, can I ask
sure.
something about who was pushed down the stairs?
I was.
Tell me about that. I mean, that right there would have pretty much.
Right. This is the reason for the repression.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to just say hi out there. I see a bunch of our friends out there and your friends.
Yes.
Liz Milne and Stuart and Amber Young. Hey.
I was just typing her.
Hello. But go ahead.
No.
Let them know.
Stephanie, my teammate. But yeah, I mean, being pushed down the stairs, I think. How old were you? I mean, that's terrifying.
I was about 8 years old when that happened.
Gosh.
So my friend and I were playing. The house I grew up in is also a farmhouse. We lived on a farm, and I think it was built in 18. I think it's 60 years older than the house I live in now. So what had happened was, my friend and I were playing upstairs, my friend Tammy and I, and I was standing, I thought I heard my mom call me. So I was standing at the top of the stairs, because it was kind of like a loft. It's like a old cape, and we had it all open at the top. So I was like, yes, Mom. And when I did that, I felt these two huge hands. I mean, I'm little, so huge hands just push me.
You're not
I
that
ended
little.
up down the stairs, and like my mom and her mom, thank God, was a nurse, and she's like, oh my God, you could have broke your neck and everything. I'm like, she's like, what happened? You tripping? I'm like, no, I was pushed. And of course, nobody believed me.
No.
So
That's how it goes.
yeah, but during that time, I remember, since my memories, that I've had shadow figures and things. It's very hard for me to talk about because I don't like these things, but very negative entities in my bedroom and also in my house, but they seem to be attracted to me and torment me. So it was really
emotionally torment you, just like by being terrified when you saw them. Is that
yes.
how you describe it?
Yes, most definitely. And it felt negative. Now, I don't know anything about feelings or anything until, because I'm little, at the time. So, but I just knew they were terrifying. And to this day, I can't watch The Nun because one of them looked like, I can't even see a picture of it. It looked like The Nun to me. So there were several things that happened. I was playing, I had this doll. She was porcelain, but she had like a puff and stuff body, and she had porcelain hands. And if you pulled the string, her head would turn around.
Oh, no.
And what would happen is I'd be playing and her head would be turning around, and I didn't touch the damn thing. So, and they would do certain things like that. Books would fall off shelves, and it's just silly things, but to get my attention because I'm that young.
And these things scared you.
They scared, yes, they scared the hell out of me.
I would think, no matter what age, that would terrify people.
Yes.
Actually, I got an answer to that question. How many spirits?
Oh, come on. This is the house I'm in now, my 1740 house.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason, though.
How many are here besides Kristen and I? How many consciousnesses?
24.
24.
Hopefully that came across okay. I don't know how that works in the stream, but
Time to move.
the night we were
24.
doing that,
No,
there were
I
24
actually, I'm
spirits, so-
happy over there. So
So we both had like really haunted childhoods, and it was kind of
Chris's is
a messed
messed
up
up
thing.
too.
Yeah. I guess it can go either way, you know.
Yeah, I
don't know-
blocked everything out after that.
I don't know about you guys and what it was like for you. I had a thing with clowns, and I don't have clownophobia or whatever you call that, but I had these Steiff dolls, and I don't know if you're familiar with Steiff.
Yeah.
They were
Steiff bears, they're
Yeah.
German. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A woman named Marguerite Steiff
Mm-hmm.
started making these things back in I think 1880.
Very
In
valuable.
Germany.
Find one.
And they're known for like the teddy bear during the Teddy Roosevelt years, inventing the teddy bear, and they were kind of handcrafted at the time. And when I was a child, they were still pretty much handcrafted, hand painted faces. And I had two clowns. One was a little taller than I was at the time. I was like 4 years old.
Yeah,
And it's about a mile from where we are now in Rhode Island. And this area is I'm right near a river. I'm pretty sure this was all like Native American territory at one time. And there were, camps and everything and burial grounds and whatnot. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. But anyways, my parents had told the same. They split up shortly after we moved out of that house when I was still like a little kid. They always told the same ghost stories. They would hear babies crying in the basement, footsteps coming up the stairs, that kind of thing. And my memories are of these Steiff clowns that I had. The tall one was like nefarious, wanted to kill my parents, was always plotting some kind of murder in the house. And the one that was like a little smaller that I could hold was kind of like a mediator. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just how I remember it.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying it actually happened, I'm going to make that clear. But these are my memories, right? And it was a constant battle, and I eventually killed the big clown somehow, and I believe in my memory buried it in the yard, which is really weird,
Whatever
And I
that
don't know if
entity
things happened
was
that-
in imprinting
Right.
those thoughts into your mind. I mean,
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. Like it's really messed up, right? And I
Yeah.
was kind of tortured by these things. But later I would get into it and just kind of want to know the answers. So I went like a different direction than Kristen did. And
most definitely.
Eventually we did.
He
have-
ran with it. I was
ran
like,
with that ball. I was like, oh, okay, how does
Nope.
this work? That kind of thing. And I always had a childhood interest. I was a creepy kid. I liked horror. I liked grew up reading Hans Holzer and
oh,
Hardy Boys and things like that. To this day I keep a compass, that I'll
Yes.
take on an investigation, like just a Boy Scout like compass,
now you don't consider yourselves mediums or psychics, but did you ever think maybe these things were happening to you because you did have some kind of abilities, or was that just something you didn't know about at the time? Because a lot of kids, this happens to them as children, and they're terrified, and it's because they have mediumship abilities that they just don't know anything about yet.
Right. And we don't use the word, like we don't call ourselves those things, but we talk about psychic phenomena, and I think it's pretty safe to say we're both psychic.
Yeah,
It's just not a label we use, I guess.
I don't like labels. So yeah.
I was also like very into out of body experiences in middle school. I had a guided hypnosis cassette tape, because I'm going to show my age a little bit. And I used to play that thing, and I was like way better at it then than we are now, really. Like we're working on that now. We're actually doing like the gateway program through HemiSync, doing that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you started dating, did you know about his paranormal background? I mean, how did that come about? Like, oh, well, let's go on a date. Oh, by the way, I used to see dead people in my house. I mean, how do you?
Right.
Well, we have a story about that as well. Go ahead. You can tell it.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
A nice setup. We have a story about that as well. Well, I don't know what that story is. What is that story?
Since we were children,
Okay. You mean like serendipity? We had a lot of serendipity growing up. Kristen and I crossed paths like a million times. We grew up a town away from each other. Both our parents were antique dealers. And it's interesting. We likely knew each other. We both have deceased parents that were the antique dealers mostly, so we don't really know. We inhabited a lot of same areas out of town, and I dated one of your friends. I met Kristen in high school, and I remember like what she was wearing.
Yeah, you remember what I was wearing when he came in to get my best friend.
Sweet, right?
That's love right there.
That's love. That's love. I remember that.
Weird is what it is.
Yeah, I dated the wrong one. But yeah.
I wasn't gonna say that, but
no, I'm kidding.
I did at the time. I was like, 15 or 16.
Yeah, but also we in Cape Cod, I should say, in the Cape. That's where I was going with that. But
our parents set up at the same flea markets, what you guys aren't gonna really know, but it's a little geographically far away from where we live, and we probably met each other or walked by each other or something.
Wellfleet, Mass. Yeah, but, of all places, it's so bizarre. We have had a lot of paths crossing.
It was a lot of that. Like as we started to go through it, it was like, wow.
Really?
Yeah. That's kind of interesting.
Fate. I mean, look where you are now. I mean,
I know.
Being terrified and pushing away, and no. Now you're doing.
I drug her in. It took a little bit. All right. So what happened is like the activity in our house did like seem to be growing. So finally, she kind of relented. I was like, all right, well, why don't you do what you used to do there and do some kind of session or something. So we did a 20-minute EVP and spirit box session, and it was like chock full of data.
I don't know how they're going to come across.
Hopefully this comes across okay.
No, I'm freaking out.
I had several EVPs and the spirit box stuff was like incredibly relevant. And for 20 minutes, I was like, what?
Could you please answer my 3 questions I've been asking you?
So I don't know if that came through, but it goes, hey, Kristen.
Yeah.
It's an EVP.
That's an EVP. Anyway, like several. They're hard to play like through the live stream. I know they distort a little bit. And they're pretty good EVPs if you're listening to them with headphones and that kind of stuff. And the spirit box stuff was like really relevant. It took her 2 weeks, literally,
to listen to that 20-minute session.
To listen to it. But now she's like the first one. I'll play back, Yeah. But at the time, it was really hard. Yeah, it was difficult.
There's a reason why. It's because I kind of grew knowing Chris. We dated for 4 years before I decided to start doing this.
Yeah, it was a while.
So I wanted to be kind of like on his level. And so I kind of tried it. Oh my God. Tried to start going like and trying to feel
not COVID.
What he felt like. And I was doing baby steps. So it took me a while, but I noticed that after a while we went out and did some investigations after that. And we're kind of like beacons to.
There's something about like the two of us working together that works like way better. Okay, so like I did spend like a number of years in different paranormal teams in New England. I spent the whole night in the house and 83,000 hours of recordings and listening to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not putting it down in any way, shape, or form. It's an awesome thing to do, but it was a lot of work to get any kind of data at all. And what we found is working together for whatever reason, separately. Kristen's tried it separately. I've tried it separately. Together it works like way better. And it's not like a guarantee thing, it's 100% guarantee, but it is a lot of data. Like we have a ton of clips to play. Like it's ridiculous, like I don't know why.
Your energy of the two of you combine into some super energy. I mean,
it seems like that, but
it does.
I don't want to sound stupid with it. Like we're not superheroes or anything, but it just kind of works,
And we call our stuff data, not evidence. Data.
Right,
sorry. Data.
Potato, tomato. So you guys go on paranormal investigations. What's the most memorable one?
Oh boy.
Well, the most memorable one is her house to begin with, but we do go on investigations. We don't do like awake a lot. I think I did more like stuff on teams, doing residentials and that kind of thing. We did into this last place we went. It was like Wilson Castle.
Yeah.
We do
everything during the day.
Tell you about a place we went. Like we started investigating once we got into this. Was a place. I don't know if I want to let it out.
Undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location, sorta.
We have to.
But I have said the name of the location
Yeah,
on
we
the
have.
air like many times. So maybe I should just tell you.
Yeah, there's nobody but us four here, so go ahead.
There's nobody here. There's nobody here. Well, they discourage it. They literally have a sign over.
Yes.
Because it had some notoriety some years ago. There's a lot of legends attached to it, and I can tell you this: it has very spidery gates. I don't know if that means anything to you from where you guys are from, but there is a place in central Massachusetts that's known as Spider Gates. And it's actually has another name, and it's in a cemetery. And once in a very blue moon, like 10 years or something, they bury somebody there. It's a Quaker cemetery.
Mm.
And yeah, Quakers are very interesting folk. They were pretty much treated like witches were. They were accused of witchcraft and that kind of thing when the colony settled here in New England, because they don't have an intermediary between them. They don't have a priest. They speak directly to God. They're often called shakers, right? And you probably have that image or seen that somewhere, like people standing up and doing that kind of thing, and talking directly to God. And because of that, they were really, shunned upon, and they were hung. They were treated very poorly. They had their hands cut off, and all kinds of terrible things. Really, here in New England has a very shady history. The history of New England is horrifying, and we do like to tell this stuff in our podcast. We do an audio podcast aside of those live shows called Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast, wherever you get podcasts, and we talk about some of that history in those. So if you're interested in that, it's definitely worth taking a gander and listening to that stuff. But long and short of it is, we had extremely haunted experiences at Spider Gates.
Yeah. It was.
I don't even know where to begin with that. We encountered a child spirit named Toby. He was recognized. He was coming through our spirit boxes as Toby and sounded like a child. And I'll play you a clip. We asked her, this was our first trip there to Spider Gates. Said Toby. She asked, Toby, how old are you? And he says 7. You hear 7. And I say, Toby, how old are you? And again, it's a 777. And let me play that for you, actually, because that's pretty cool. Should I play the right one?
Toby, how old are you?
How old are you?
I'm sure it's about stream quality. You can still hear that, right? So we return. We come back another time, and we ask the same question. And we
Toby, can you tell us how old you are again?
It's about a month later.
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually 3 times.
What spirit box was that? Do you remember?
I have it right here.
Yeah, it's a shack hack.
Oh, I didn't get it.
No,
was it the shack
it
hack?
was
We have
shack
an
hack.
SB.
Yeah.
This is an old shack hack, and I actually modified this one, which was really simple. You go in and you clip a capacitor when they still made radios.
Be careful. People buy the wrong one with the wrong colored ribbon, and then you can't do it.
Yeah, this is like
don't go around buying these, because there's 2 different kinds, everyone. And
You pay like $3,000
$100
for it. Yeah, on eBay.
You get screwed. Yeah.
Well, this is this is one of the real ones, and it works okay.
Yeah.
We just talked to Katie Stafford this past week, who makes the nanocoms and the ink boxes, and they're cool as heck. And we got one of those coming in the mail. So we're pretty psyched. We had borrowed one on an investigation and really loved it.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Katie, and that was a lot of fun talking to
I
them.
love Shack Hacks. I got a huge collection. I love them, and they all have different personalities. If I want to get cursed out, there's one I use in particular. If there's something else, there's another one that I use, but I find they all are so different. It's really interesting.
Yeah, they all swear at us. I don't know.
Not all of them.
I think it's Kristen.
Yeah. Oh.
Most likely because, I don't, I get upset.
Some people ask about Toby out there. 7 years old. How many years ago? We don't really know, but we have a little bit more on the Toby thing. So Toby is the first spirit that we actually crossed, and we tried this crossing thing.
We took a class.
I mean, you got to understand, we are just like everybody else out there. We're not born with this knowledge of like how to cross the spirit.
I don't know how to.
I don't even know what the light is. I don't even see it. People talk about it.
Yeah.
And, we tried to envision it.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen went as far as to make grind candy and herbs, and we do have a little bit of like an occult background. We're kind of into witchcraft and
voodoo and
hoodoo, and it was actually
I'm eclectic, so
herb collection that we used.
It's like ground everything
and led made a trail like out of that cemetery. But there's more reasons why. Like it wasn't just based on that data. If you can now, I wanted to mention you talked about noise reduction on your last show.
Yes,
Heather. And Audacity and using Audacity. And I have a couple of good examples of that. I agree with you that noise reduction is like not a thing you want to overuse, but sometimes it does bring out something you don't hear initially, right? And it kind of works well for the people out there that have Audacity and they're working with it. I always have historically tried not to use any kind of anything but amplification on anything I record, whether it's an EVP or a spirit box, whatever it is.
Will you ever slow it down a bit? So it's,
slow it down.
That's what I have to do a lot is just slow it down because they're, a lot of EVPs are so fast.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. They go blazing by, and I agree.
Mm-hmm.
You need to slow it down. But that's I try not to tamper with it. I want to leave it as natural as possible. But there are times where it really does bring something out. And this, if I can play another clip.
Well, I was going to set it up first because we put noise reduction on a couple of minutes of this clip of Toby because we were really intrigued with this Toby character. Right. We don't know if he was a little boy or, pretty sure he was, but he could have been somebody could have stepped into a role of one. We don't know. So anyway, he's at work. So I'm listening at home and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, and I'm typing him at work. Do not listen to this clip while you're at work. And we're going to tell you why right now.
All right. I just thought I was going to be sad because it is kind of sad.
He's sobbing.
You're going to hear, it brings out his sobs. It brings out his cries. And in the middle of this, he will say, and you will hear this clearly. He says, "Where's mom?"
And sobs again. It's so heartbreaking.
And he's crying. He answers our questions. And it was conversation going on that we were not aware of.
Right.
And actually, what's interesting is that this was the second time we went back to Spider Gates. We bumped into a couple of younger girls that were like, I don't know, 20 something.
Courtney and Justine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That they were trying to like discreetly do what we were doing. So we ended up just doing a spirit box session together.
They were happy.
We're doing that too, right? So you'll hear their voices in there. They're complete strangers to us. And we actually, in that same session, I'll put that whole session out on SoundCloud, by the way, under Dark Horse Paranormal somewhere, the whole thing. You can hear all the Toby stuff and you hear all our names get called out. It was pretty intense. But let me play this for you. It's a little bit longer, and but I think you'll enjoy it.
Toby, are you here?
Just let me know if it's too loud or anything.
Toby, can you tell us how old you are again?
What's interesting is the noise reduction actually takes away from the sevens, but it brings out other things.
7.
Twice.
Here? I didn't hear the first one.
We did. Yeah. Toby, what's your last name?
It sobs.
Yeah.
Why are you guys here?
Just leave.
Sure, leave. Leave. You did it again. To leave. Does that mean you're leaving or we should leave? Scared. You're scared to leave.
Scared to leave.
Why are you scared to leave?
And that's pretty much the whole clip there.
Yeah, that's why
But,
we really like pondered on this and kind of
Yeah.
obsessed on
Right.
it, which
Sure. As a
We
child,
mentioned
it's
those
heart-wrenching.
before, and this is something like every town has a haunted kid in a cemetery, and this particular cemetery has legends of a teenager hanging himself in the cemetery and kids being murdered around it. There's a lot of that, and we
Yeah.
wonder if like spirit sometimes steps into roles. I mean, how many women in white are there?
yeah.
Do
Every
you
town.
think Toby was there to his mother? You think was buried there? Maybe he was looking for her that way.
We
That's
wondered.
probably-
We wondered
that's probably
ourselves.
my-
Yeah,
Yes.
we tried to find anything we could. I mean, we became obsessed with this.
Yeah, that's where we're gonna go with this now.
You know, and eventually we had to like step away from it because it became too much of an obsession.
Yeah.
We have a podcast episode called the Evil AM Band, which fell into play with this. Like we would run the spirit box on AM Band, and it would say these kind of really cryptic things, and just repeatedly, it would say, "It speaks," and then it started adding words and names, and there's a whole podcast on it. I didn't put the clips in the board, but it's worth listening to. It's kind of involved. But we became very involved with it to the point that it started
Haunting
interfering-
us. It was
haunting our
kind of
homes because we
nefarious. Yeah.
we were so focused on it, which is
Mhm.
a real thing. I think if you focus on any kind of haunting too much, you actually will draw it toward you. And we found we could do it in our own homes, which became another thing between us. And now we were like
Right.
way into it. We go from like, don't do that. Takes 2 weeks to listen to the spirit box data to we're doing it every weekend, and
This is great.
this is great.
No.
And we kind of haunted our own houses.
When I was at Chris's house, I
Made it
actually
worse.
saw a gargoyle when we were first starting getting it. I don't see things. I totally block things out. This thing it looked like a gargoyle face. It was big like a human, and it flew. And this is like, I don't know, 5 months into our obsession with this stuff.
Mm.
And I'm like, dude, I'm not going back outside. I don't see things. And I saw that, and that's it.
Mhm,
I'm
she does
done.
see some things.
I'm good. I
Yeah.
do now.
And we did kind of tone down the medium label again,
Don't want that,
but
but
she's
yeah.
more the.
I just
But we both have like experiences,
Were you seeing this with your eyes or your mind's eye, your third eye?
I'm seeing it. I'm outside and I look up and it just seems to be there. So I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that question. That's an excellent question. I've asked myself that and I don't know.
Yeah, there were other things too. It was like we did a show
Hmm.
and one of our Bigfoot and a Bunny shows, and she was playing it back on her phone, and she kept seeing. She starts texting me at work. I'm working, like 2402 or whatever it was, and like I'm rewinding it. Like what? What are you talking about?
I'm like, I'm stuck, and all you can see, I actually thought it was my cats. I have cats, and going behind me on the table, and then coming around, I thought it was the cat's tail, but unfortunately, it wasn't. What happened was, all you could see is this really dark mist, and like we said at the time, this is when we were obsessed with this
Mhm.
AM band. you can see this really dark mist come from here and to behind me, and then all of a sudden it comes up and puts a hand in the camera. No lie.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
She kept talking about this hand. You don't see the
I
hand. You
was
don't see the hand.
scared
Like, I don't see the hand, Kristen.
crapless. And he did not see that. So
I don't know what
that's
you're
an
talking about,
excellent
you know.
question.
yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So eventually we actually got off of all that.
Yeah.
And we went in a different direction. We started looking at Native American hauntings.
Which is
Okay, tricky.
it
Yeah.
is, but you've got to figure being in
well,
Swansea
we love the history of it.
in
Yeah.
that my house.
King
and
Philip's
everything
War
else
took
is-
place and kind of started in her
Right.
town. And
hence why
yeah,
probably.
and there's amazing history there. And we have a podcast on that too, where we really detail the history. One of the places we went to was a praying town at Grafton, Massachusetts. Or I'm trying to
From
remember.
is it the Nipmucks?
Yeah,
Was the
the
Nipmucks?
Nipmucks, and it was Hemanesset. That's the name of it.
Good job, because
I
I
wrote
would
it
have
down.
butchered that.
Wow.
I didn't write that one down. Yeah, I was like, what's
That's
the name of
not
that again? Hemanesset.
Hemanesset.
And that was formed by John Eliot, who was a preacher back in colonial times that had founded several praying towns for the Native Americans. They called them Indian praying towns. And we went to the cemetery, which was literally called the Old Indian Burial Ground.
It was
in
so
Grafton,
sad.
which was kind of sad. The headstones were like nothing really to speak of. They were just stones, you know, in this like little
And they
town
put them
square
road
thing.
in.
Yeah.
So they moved them.
And these are natives that had converted to Christianity, or they
Oh,
had
wow.
converted, and they converted either out of fear of their lives, or because that was the new way, or whatever it is. And they were buried there. We had the day we went there, she had a shirt on that said "Believe" across the front of it, and she actually asked, and I'll find the clip of that.
Lots of notebooks.
Yeah, sorry, I got a lot of notes here.
4.57.
She says, "What's my shirt say?" And this was the response. And I have pictures. I mean, you have to, trust us on it. This is what happened.
You know what my shirt says? You know what my shirt says?
That's an
No.
interesting voice.
Yeah,
Well,
it
it's
says "believe" twice. It goes "believe," and then it goes "believe."
like I was telling Chris earlier.
With chair.
We were setting up, and I said to Chris, we should take like the noise reduction out of that just so we could hear it.
Yeah.
And everybody could hear it without the the
Well,
white noise.
yeah,
but,
that's the joy of spirit boxes.
but yeah,
Anyways,
That's what happened.
yeah, we also went to Anawan Rock, which Kristen used to play at as a child.
I did. My parents had an antique shop right behind it, and or right in front of it. I always say right behind it, right in front of it.
The surrender of Chief Anawan was pretty much marked the end of King Philip's War, which is the bloodiest native white man battle that occurred in America per capita. In fact, it's the bloodiest battle that occurred per capita. It took place. It started in Swansea, where Kristen's from, and spread out all through New England. The chief had taken over. King Philip. I should maybe clarify that. Metacomet was King Philip. Philip being the English name for Metacomet. He died, and Anawan took over for him. Anawan was captured or surrendered to Benjamin Church behind this extremely large rock. It's this huge freaking boulder. It's like about 75 feet across and about 20 feet high. You can go up and you can climb on it. There's ways to get up there. It's a public monument in Rehoboth, Massachusetts. Behind that rock is where Chief Anawan surrendered. They spent the night there, and Anawan and what was left of his crew were promised, freedom if they surrendered. And what really happened was they took him to Plymouth, Massachusetts, with the Pilgrims Land, Plymouth Rock. I'm sure you guys probably heard of that. And they put his head on a stake, and they left it there for 20 years because we're butchers, and you should listen to that podcast.
Yeah, Native American hauntings.
It's really, really, really bad. But we captured a bunch of.
It's really good too, but
do you take any offerings when you go to a Native American?
Always. We take everywhere we go, not even just the Native Americans. Anywhere we go, cemeteries, woods, anywhere, we always take offerings.
Can you tell us what specific things you take to what specific locations? Like, what would you take to an American Indian, a Native American land compared to a cemetery?
We often bring whiskey or rum or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
I am fascinated as to why alcohol and tobacco is a good offering. I mean, we're kind of going on the word of mouth of that too, because I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it's in so many practices and rituals dating back through history. It's also a major component of things like hoodoo and voodoo. Mm-hmm. Especially with the rum. I don't know. It's always been there, so we feel a little better doing it. More, I think it's probably the intent of saying thank you.
Yes, just a sign of respect.
Leaving
right, a sign of respect.
Yeah, I mean, we take if it's a known Native American area where they've been wronged, which is basically all of Georgia. We usually take some loose leaf tobacco, some maize, some other things, and we'll just sprinkle them on the ground and ask, for permission and to say thank you and just covering our bases. I mean, because you don't want to mess with Native American spirits. You want them on your side. You don't want to offend them. So we did that enough already.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Right.
I think our podcast we kind of dedicated to the Native American audience really gets into the details, and it's just not the stuff you learn growing up. It's not Thanksgiving,
oh no.
I was on the Trail of Tears this weekend. We're driving to our location, and there's a sign, Original Trail of Tears. I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Yeah, it's horrifying. We were truly terrorists and acted in ways that I think are pretty unforgivable. We put a lot of those details in there. So, if you're interested in learning that stuff, do check it out. We did get like Anawan's name, which is an interesting 3 syllables.
Yes.
Spirit box.
Anawan, as a matter of fact.
I'll play it for you.
Who was captured here? Who was captured here?
Slow it down that last time so you could hear the actual syllables, Anawan. And it is there. It's one of those things where, like you mentioned, it goes really fast.
Yeah.
Anawan. But then you slow down to Anawan.
But it says, you
must give back Chief Anawan, the traitor.
Wow.
You win.
And that,
and it's just terrible because he did give up and his people were upset that he surrendered. So the history actually follows what we were getting back on the spirit box. And there's all kinds of stuff. There's a bunch of things. I don't want to just rely on the clips, but we just want to give you an idea, like some of the data we have captured, because it's kind of pretty interesting. It's historical in that regard.
Question, getting back to ITC.
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, so many times we hear help me.
Yes.
What do you guys do when you hear that? Do you say, how can I help? Do you do anything? Do you respond to that?
Yes, I always ask, well, how can I help you?
Yeah.
But we don't really know. We know it's
sometimes they say a message or something, and other times we're like completely blank because we're like,
I'm lost on most of them. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I'm lost.
I don't know.
We
hear help me and get out often. I think we did play that the spirit box one where it says, hey, Kristen, help me.
No, we didn't play that one. This is in my house, my first spirit box session in my house.
That was yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
The
it's different.
neighbors.
Sorry.
Who lives here? Who lives here?
Okay, I'm on the wrong bank.
That was Anna One
But
Rock, and
that
that
was
is
also Anna One Rock.
one of our funniest clips we've
And I
ever
love that
had.
clip.
Chris
Yes.
says, "Who lives here?" And the spirit box says, "The neighbors think that I'm a ghost." And then
And I say,
who lives here?
And it goes, ghosts.
And that's one of our favorite clips
I love that
ever.
clip. But to get to the help me thing, we actually have a lot of
understand.
clips of that. I don't know. I don't know what we can do for them. I mean, there's the crossing we did when we went back to Spider Gates and asked about Toby. I mean, we've been back a few times since. He's never responded again. We never got the 7.
We let him out.
We think it worked.
Maybe you went,
I mean, I got to tell you, not John Edwards here. This is just.
But you can. There's a spirituality element to it that you can feel when they are going. It's hard to explain. I mean, I felt it. I've done it. But you have a sense in your heart and in your spirit if you think he's leaving.
We did at the time. We felt like he was walking with us out. We literally walked.
I literally had my hand out
through those gates
and had him hold my hand, and it did feel like it could be psychosomatic, but that we were holding his hand and down the path we went.
Yep.
There's a good book you may enjoy just if you want to learn a little bit more about helping people cross. It's called Lighting the Way by Amy Major. It's a
That's a class we took.
Yeah, it's up here. We met Amy and talked to her.
Yeah.
She was wonderful. Yes.
That's the thing with her. Yeah, it's a great place.
That's how we got into it, was really because of Toby. We got into the rescue mediumship thing and tried to learn about it. But again, we're not in circles. We don't practice this a lot. It's not something I think we're expert in any way, shape, or form. But we had the experience, and it did feel like we crossed him.
Yeah, you can feel it. I mean, it's quite emotional sometimes.
It was emotional. I know when I felt.
We put a lot into it. Like I said, we used the mortar pestle crusted candy, or she did, and with herbs, and we literally let her trail out of those gates.
And I cried as I was walking down the path throughout the gates.
It was the thing. Yeah.
But I'm also empathic, and I hate being labeled, but that's my heart. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun to watch. Bad movies with.
Being empathic is a wonderful thing if you know how to take care of yourself.
That's right. Exactly.
If you can get the information through your empathic abilities, but yet let it go, it's wonderful. But some people can't let it go.
Right.
That's true.
Right. No, I agree. You have to keep all that stuff under control.
Now, I'm still learning about myself here, so I'm still trying to deal.
It's funny because we got into the stuff in 2019 together, and then COVID kind of hit. So it's kind of, it's kind of put a damper on some things. And we've done some shows, and we've certainly done some investigations, but it's been a hindrance for sure.
Are you interested in doing private home investigations for people that are having activity in their house? Is that something
Somewhat. I've done a ton of residentials.
You've always done them, yeah.
In my past, as a team and that kind of thing, and try to do that. But now our team is just her and I. So we'd be interested in it, but not today. I don't know when I walk in people's homes.
That's my favorite, but COVID has nipped that in the bud. I mean, we've helped people over the phone and things, but going into their houses is kind of happening right now.
Right. We're into other things too, like remote viewing.
We're
into those kind of things as well.
That's work. Learning how to remote view. I did three classes in, and like, okay, this is too much.
Really?
It was too much for me. Yeah.
We like it. I like it a lot. It's crazy. I can't tell you it's 100%, but when you hit, it's wicked rewarding, and you just go, where did that come from?
I have a funny story about that. So we had this target. All it is was you're blind, you're double blind, right?
Yep.
And we just had this number. So they give us a week to do it, our moderator. And I walked around, honest to goodness, like this for an entire week, going, every time I'm trying to do this, and I'm telling her, I can't see the right side of my face, and it's driving me nuts. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know what to do. We'll come to find out, I wrote everything down, did the, what do we ever call it, the matrix or whatever, and all the colors and everything and what it is, and subject, man-made, whatever. Do you know it was the bloody face on Mars? And that's why, looking down on it, I couldn't see anything. Yeah, on my right side, I was like, oh my God.
That was a good learning experience. You got to learn to trust different things that you wouldn't imagine. That's part of the information.
It was so bizarre to me. I was like, that really freaked me out, because I'm like, how could I, what's going on? You know? But yeah, it was really good. We're into other things as well, like the gateway
Hemisync. Are you guys familiar? You like guided meditations?
Brainwaves, yeah.
Yes.
Right. I mentioned the guided meditations from being in middle school. Hemisync uses, the hemispheres of your brain, and what it does is it puts slightly different pitches in each ear, and they're off by a variable that puts you in a trance state, essentially. And the gateway experience was something that the CIA actually investigated back in 2004. Come to find out, the people that graduated it said, yep, this works, and life is a holographic illusion, because they were having so many out-of-body experiences, and they were getting these things from it. And we're just starting on it. It's a huge series of recordings, but so far it's been pretty good, and it's triggered lucid dreams. And Kristen, I found myself much more relaxed from it and handling stressful situations better. But there's more to come on that. Because I love lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences.
It's been triggering a little bit of, I like the clairs instead of being like psychic, the labels, but a little bit more of my clair audience and my clair sentiences. I've been,
I'm open to see, I mean, as far as this relates to the paranormal, more spirits, and that are actually maybe haunting a place, even if they're a residual spirit, to see some of that energy in the astral form and see them in out-of-body experiences. You know, much in a way you might remote view a home that's haunted, like ahead of time, like to look for sort of hot spots or things of that nature. I try to get an inkling of what's really going on.
So you go into meditation and open up that. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
So Saturday night, I'll start on Thursday night.
You know, I've had spirit communications through those meditations. That were pretty good. And I've talked to relatives and those sort of things.
That's mediumship, I hate to tell you.
No labels here. No labels.
Actually, there is a label. I'm sorry, I'm gonna bust your bubble, because it was the mediumship series on Hemisync that did that.
I know.
You know.
Yeah, Stephanie, look up binaural beats.
Check that out. We don't get anything from that. We're not sponsored for them, but their products are good quality, and there's actually quite a few of them on YouTube that are free, even from them, to try out. And you just have to wear headphones when you use them, because
binaural beats, like
it's very important to get the frequencies correct in your left and right ear.
And it's best to do it in a dark room with the lights out, because until you get used to a Hemisync audio, it could make you nervous.
Yes, it made me anxious the first couple of times. Yes.
And then once you get more accustomed to it, you'll find yourself just zoning out. Yeah. So if you're listening to this and like, oh, I'm going to try it, don't give up after the first time you listen to it.
Baby steps.
There's one called Between Worlds that's on YouTube from Hemisync that has all these kind of like cricket noises and frogs and stuff, and they're in this like spectrum around you, and it sounds like there's like UFO sounds, and it's the trippiest friggin' thing I've ever heard. And I swear you'll feel like you're turning into a tadpole if you listen to it long enough.
That's what he told me. I'm turning into a tadpole. I'm like, oh my God, what are you listening to? I'm not there yet. I'm not going to do that.
I wanted to say, this is Ghost Education, and we want to talk about probably some like educational things, right? Things we learned along the way. and that sort of thing. And you guys talk about apophenia at all?
No, tell us about it.
Apophenia.
Mhm.
I'm sure you have talked about
Was
it.
that
This
the band in the 80s? Like,
oral with an A, pareidolia, right?
yeah.
And where you hear things, especially with spirit boxes, this comes up all the time because it's kind of like the what is it, Laurel and
Yanni.
Yanni.
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
heard about that?
Laurel and Yanni thing that was
Yes.
popular a few years ago. It's on Good Morning America and all those things. Well, one person would hear Yanni and one person would hear Laurel. And I have a good example of that. And it is right here. Now,
Heather, can you write the name of that out so people can see it? Can he?
I don't even know if I want to preface this with any kind of translation or if I should just play it for you. And you tell me what it says. And then I'll tell you what it says and I'll play it again. How's that? Does that work?
Yes.
It's a good example of apophenia. What do you hear?
One more time. That's hard to
Options?
hear. That's hard.
Yeah, I know it's in a stream, and this does happen. I'll do it one more time, and I'll give you options.
Don't something.
Yeah, it's hard to hear.
I hope it's not getting broken down in the stream on our internet connection because it's pretty clear. You hear Frank, Mike, Christopher, or Bring Light, Lucifer.
So it's either or.
Bring light. Definitely. The last one. I don't hear Lucifer. So what was the other option?
Christopher.
Frank, Mike, Christopher. Maybe you hear some kind of hybrid.
Oh, you could do a hybrid, and Jonas, that's another podcast altogether.
Yeah.
God, I got to tell you, audience, like whenever we do these kind of things and we put them out in the stream, there's a little bit of loss and packet loss no matter what we do. Like we got a really good internet connection here, and still, it might sound a little shaky on your side.
Yeah.
So we apologize, but it is one of those things that kind of like, if I tell you it says one thing and you listen to it, you're most likely going to hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
then
why
this
I
happens
put
all
my.
the time when you're reviewing data and you're trying to like say, all right, well, what is this? I could tell Kristen, listen, it says this, and she, no, it doesn't. Say,
I love to post EVP videos, and I don't put what I hear. I put EVP when it pops up, and I like to ask, "What do you hear?" And to get the different, reactions. And it's interesting to see what the differences people do here, even when it's a really good EVP. That almost I would say is a, class A. Some people are still hearing one little thing differently than everybody else.
That's right. That's right.
That's true. The thing about us is if we don't agree on something, we don't put it out there.
Yeah.
Because exactly why? Right here. Apophenia. I'll hear one thing and it's true. It's about the if you look into that, what Heather posted, that apophenia, women hear differently than men.
Well, that's
So-
we all know that. Men don't hear anything.
The difference as well.
Yeah.
Right. Younger people heard better and at a wider
Yeah.
range than older people. Females heard a slightly different range in general, not exclusively, than males did. And those sound bites were just created in such a way that it seemed like it was on the fringe, even though those two words don't even sound like Yanni, Laurel.
Yeah. That's
How does that work, right?
It's like night and day.
That was a big discussion for a little while.
Yeah.
That's
I
apophenia.
think that's
And that's your ghost education right there.
Yeah, we got a good EVP this weekend, but the last word is either bleed or leave. We can't.
distinguished.
We can't. Yeah. But the first three words are everybody agrees on. The last word is like, is that bleed or leave?
Right. Yeah,
It's
that
really
happens.
hard.
That happens. Robert Riggy says men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Right on. You're absolutely right.
Right on, he says. Love you, Robert.
Ghost hunters are from a
Very good.
different
Thank
plane
you.
altogether. Heather,
So that's been our thing. I mean, we've been on other investigations, of course, besides these, but those are some kind of highlights right there. The obsession thing was interesting because now we started to record things in our own homes, and there's some pretty good examples of that.
Like and also not being, I'm not going to say not being able to, but I block out seeing a lot. I see things out of the corner of my eyes, but that, I don't know what happened with that. With the gray mist, and it was gray. It was like mist. A darkish, coming about, and that's when, with the obsession, and it actually let me see it. So
yes,
but we always wanted to. Hollywood has taught us that the black mist and the black mist is all evil, but it's not. That may have been the only way that wonderful entity could show themselves.
Communicate.
How did you feel?
Hey,
we're not like it was bad.
I'm going to say all ghosts are evil. Absolutely not.
Oh God, no! We don't even like the D word. We have a series with that too, the D word series. Yeah, we don't. It's this mostly negative, but this one, I'm going to tell you, being clear, sentient, empathic, whatever, I could feel that coming around me. And I actually thought it was my cat. And I was like, what is happening here? One of those. And then when I played it back, I was like, oh my goodness. And
I wanted to get to like some of these clips about like just things that were happening that were pretty interesting during this obsession phase. And this one is called Paul.
Oh, this one's wicked funny.
And
this is in my house.
We're pretty sure that this was Paul.
Who just ran their fingers through my hair?
You're pretty sure you probably heard a Paul in there somewhere, right?
7
I
times.
think my dog may have been visiting you. That's his name is Paul.
His name is Paul. I'm gonna blame him.
That's just data, but
how can you?
The odds of that coming across.
Explain that.
How many times randomly on a radio?
Question for you.
Sure.
You're doing any type of ITC, EVP things in your house. Do you practice any kind of protection rituals? Because people can equate those sessions to the Ouija board, like you're inviting unknown entities.
No, that's a great question.
What's your thoughts about doing that? Because I do ITC in my house. Well, I used to do it like all the time. If it's like with the Ouija board, as long as you know what you're doing and how to protect yourself, close down the session, blah blah blah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I'd even go that far as to say as long as you know what you're doing, because we got so obsessed that nothing worked. We were pretty haunted for a while and had to just leave certain things alone and certain aspects of that haunting alone and just walk away from it. But things that we do, we like this. This is a hoodoo thing, is Chinese wash. You see that? It's hoodoo. And you can mop your house, and you mop beginning in the middle and mop outwards.
The door.
To your door and get rid of it. I'm a big fan of the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which is a Golden Dawn technique of calling archangels to protect yourself. And I've done that for a very long time, and I did that back when I was doing teams, and everybody thought I was pretty crazy.
You imagine doing that in front of everybody?
The idea.
Or you walk into a cemetery or something.
I'm doing something like that. It's a little bit more acceptable because of TV and whatnot, but at the time it seemed a little outside.
I do.
Growing up, were your families religious at all? Did you grow up with religion, the church, anything?
I did when I was little. My mom, basically, my grandmother, her mom, was religious, and they sent me to catechism, and I got kicked out because I kept questioning evolution, because I was learning at that time about evolution. So I kept, and honest to God, they made my parents come and pick me up.
Because you were
It's
questioning
not a
them.
lie.
You don't question the
No, I'm
religion.
supposed
You know?
no, that's what the priest came and got me and brought me in and said, you're not supposed to be doing this, and you should say like 5 Hail Marys and this and that. And
Oh,
I'm like,
geez.
for goodness sake,
Bye.
man, I'm 7 years old. I don't know what I just want to know. Then that's the way it's been. So
They don't know the answer, so that's why they wanted you out.
right.
Right. Right.
What you got, Heather? I'm taking up all the time.
I'm enjoying the stories. That's all I can say. But we do have some questions that we can catch up on.
Okay.
Stephanie wants to know, what's your favorite piece of paranormal equipment? If you had to choose just one, what would it be?
A recorder.
It's either this one, a tiny little recorder. You could use your phone, whatever, or we have this one as well.
That
Is
one.
that a task cam or a
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, it's
We
a
have
task cam
story
VR5.
about that too.
Yes, it would be a recorder. Absolutely.
Definitely.
You don't have to buy the $300 digital recorders.
No.
You don't. I mean, you can. I have dash cams that are $28 that I converted to IR cameras.
Mm-hmm.
They pick up EVPs. It doesn't matter. I mean,
Oh, sure.
I just want people to realize you don't have to spend a fortune on things.
You could actually use an app on your phone, and the spirits, if they will engage with you with just that app.
Right.
I mean, or your
it can
recorder.
happen, but I'm gonna throw a little bit of caution in there with the apps, because a lot of the apps are a little bit centered toward the paranormal,
basically.
and they're gonna say creepy words, and some of them can use GPS and kind of like figure out where you are and use that kind of stuff. If you do use them in airplane mode.
Yes.
Would be the way to go. And but we've gotten stuff from apps. Anything can work. Dowsing rods work. Anything works. I make dowsing rods. They work. The pendulums work. If spirit wants to communicate with you, it'll find a way. What's scary is like when you start to think about things like AI. You know, they say, well, if you can control my radio, like what else can you control? Like, what's the next step? You know, why aren't you controlling my personal computer? Or are you? You know, at different times. Well, we've gotten EVPs in our live streams that were very clear.
Heather and I were, was
They
it
were just
was the bishop? Who was it?
They were
Long?
like clear words.
Bishop Long.
Yeah, we got a little girl's voice during the interview. It's like creepy.
Oh my goodness.
Sure. We were talking to our friend Nathaniel once, and we got like these crazy, really angry EVPs with lots of F-bombs, and like if we're crossing streams or Wi-Fi was something,
I don't know what was happening
they're
there.
really, really unhappy.
They were. It was really bad in a way, because there was like two of them. It sounded like talking to each other. I'm wondering if it was the live stream. But then after we go back and listen to it like 10 times, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm done with this. This does not sound right.
I think they do talk to each other. I mean, we've all gotten EVPs where it sounds like they're having a conversation right beside of us.
Yes,
you can't hear it all, but you can hear bits and pieces and some whispering. We got one this past weekend. The man says hi, and then the lady says hi. You know,
hey, how you doing?
Yeah, it's like, we're here. Say
Right.
that.
Can you know? That's the thing. Do they see us? Do they know we're here? Is there frequency,
Are they
vibration?
watching a shower? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the other questions? You got some more, Heather?
How do you guys feel about places like the Stanley Hotel or Ohio State Reformatory that have mass investigations? Do you feel that by allowing loads of people into those places at the one time tends to make the spirits upset?
I think they bring in their own spirits and their own baggage.
Baggage. You took my word.
Yeah.
Yes and yes.
Yep.
Because people don't understand. They should be, kind of nice to them and not like, try to, what is it?
Provoke.
I'm looking for it. Exactly. Provoke them. I mean, come on. That's so mean.
I think people have spirits attached to them anyways.
Yes.
I mean, I think a lot of times we're talking to spirits that are around us all the time. So that's why the home thing works sometimes. I don't know. I can't tell you whether it's really a good thing to encourage this or not. I suppose it's situational. Some of those spirits may be good. They may be your, long lost relative. They may not be. But when you have
may step into the role.
Public investigations, you're opening yourself up to
God only knows
public ghosts, right? So I don't know what the effect of that totally is, but people have told me that people bring a lot of baggage in.
Oh, you used my word right there, Mylan.
This isn't a question, but I found it interesting because we were talking about non-tech tools. Anne Marie says she talked to a spirit using a shirt on a hanger.
Yes or no questions.
Yep.
Well,
Please, you got that on video because I want to see it.
We love
Wait.
it.
Exactly.
I have a shirt on, Anne-Marie, and I don't know if you're being serious or not, but actually, if you are, I actually can believe that because they can do anything. I think at least
Mhm.
we think that they can
I think anything
portray
works
and
if they want it to work.
yes, anything would.
Yeah, so you can have the fanciest toy, paranormal toy, and we have some fancy toys. Or just use something really simple. I mean, anything can work. I mean, everybody's seen the flashlight trick, which is sort of debunkable, but sometimes you go, well, did that really happen? You know, I don't know.
You can take two pencils and cross them, do a sheet of paper with a yes and no, two each, and they, turn one of the pencils. I mean, you can use anything.
Pendulums.
Yeah, I use a
I mean, I
fidget
tend to
spinner.
think go ahead. Sorry, Heather.
I use a fidget spinner.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, that's awesome.
That's cool.
I love
Yeah,
those
I
things.
think with anything like you touch, like dowsing rods, pendulums, those kind of things, like your subconscious is really playing a big role in that. But the subconscious does seem to know everything, right? And I do also think our subconsciouses are connected, and that's why telepathy and things like that work, because they just, on some level, we already know what's going to happen, what's happened,
Mhm.
what occurred in a particular place. I think we know those things. It's just a matter of tapping into it.
Yeah, that's our higher
Not
self.
filtering
Our
it. Our
soul.
brains tries to make sense of any kind of information that it receives, whether it's from spirit or you're trying to remote view something. The biggest thing in remote viewing is like turning the filter off and taking the data and it just as it comes. That's the most important lesson I've learned from that. And not to try to analyze the picture, not to try to overthink it in any way, because as soon as you do that, you create an analytic overlay or an AOL that you're trying to make it into something. But some of the best remote viewing drawings, for example, that I've seen have been pictures that were like sideways or whatever. It was almost like your subconscious went out, looked at it, brought it back, pipes it back to your brain. And if you try to make sense of it while you're drawing it, you're going to get it wrong. Like every time. You just got to put out what that information is, what that data is, and look at it when you're done.
Well, that's like going to an investigation, going in blind without any knowledge of the location. You're not overlaying your preconceived ideas of what's supposed to happen in this location.
Exactly. We actually do that. We don't go in knowing the history.
Yeah.
So it's exactly like that.
Yeah. And real quick question I do have for you guys. What are your thoughts on the new studies that they've been doing? Actually, they've been doing it for years on the EVPs actually being a result of our subconscious imprinting. So like you ask the question and then she's thinking it and that's the answer you're getting.
I think that's really a good question, because it's the same thing with like poltergeist phenomena or noisy ghost. A lot of people attribute that to teenagers and hormones, females in particular, that sort of thing. It's very possible that in some instances they are doing telekinesis and they're moving things on their own, or some part of them, like their subconscious, is acting out because they're so confused. I don't doubt it. I think our subconscious is way more powerful than we give it credit for. Hypnosis is completely built on training your subconscious. That's how hypnosis works. If you need to quit smoking or something like that, if you can convince your subconscious, the rest will follow, right? It's very slower moving, but it seems to be in tune with all these things. And I think it's possible. I don't have a definitive answer, but I think it's very possible.
What about, if you get EVPs and you're not even in the building, but you have your cameras and your recorders going, are we imprinting that? I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so either.
Right. Doesn't seem logically possible.
It's well, that's our brains thinking logically, but maybe it's something
logic doesn't
different.
always work either.
We don't know, and that's the hows and whys and
sure. I mean, look
why we're
at
And
asking.
quantum
EVPs
physics.
that don't make any sense and aren't answering the specific question, like random EVPs. Why would we imprint
Exactly.
something random that doesn't have anything to do with the question we just asked?
I'm right with you with that.
I mean,
So
that's why we
Right.
have standard
Logically, it doesn't
EVP
seem to make
questions, and one of them is "Where's Elvis?" You know, we have some control questions that we throw in. So if that gets an answer, it'd be like, which we never have gotten an answer for "Where's Elvis," but
really,
we ask it every time.
That's a good one. I like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows.
No, we'll know when we get over there.
You know, we're kind of parapsychology works at these things and tries to test them out. Quantum physics plays a role. The quantum entanglement, where you can have two electrons doing exactly the same thing. There's no distance doesn't seem to matter, but they can exist in two places at the same time. All right, so you take that on a bigger level, and I think quantum is overused, by the way, as an excuse for everything paranormal. But you do have to look at that and go, well, if that can happen, maybe something else can happen.
Sure.
Right? Maybe if I'm not in the same building, it doesn't matter so much, because quantum entanglement says that things can happen in two different places across the world at exactly the same time and seem to be connected, yet they're not physically anyways.
And like at the end of the skull experiment, when they have a packaged roll of film on the table and they have the seance, and then they unroll the film and develop it, and Einstein's signature is on the film. I don't know how he wrote. I wouldn't know what his signature looked like. So the thought of everyone at that table imprinting that onto the film, I don't buy it.
no,
Because there's some things we just, in this life, we just don't know. So how can we put it there if we don't know it to begin with? I mean, that's
right.
Well, that goes back to consciousness, right? And like what we know and don't know.
Yeah.
Everything seems to hold a consciousness. We're fans of panpsychism, which is the philosophy that all matter, meaning everything that the world is constructed of, has the ability to hold a consciousness.
Yeah.
And you look at things
Trees.
like living trees, right? And the way that trees talk to each other, which is very involved.
Mycelium.
It works through the mycelium that's in the ground, which is a mushroom network. A tree can tell what its offspring are, say, a quarter mile away through the mycelium.
Right.
Or something. Maybe it might be a little less than it might be 300 yards or something, but they can tell.
And then if it's another
choke
sapling,
off other trees that are
right.
sapping the energy. It's amazing. So that has some sort of consciousness.
Yeah.
Not that they're like us and they're sitting there going, hey Al, what's for breakfast today?
I don't know,
Anything
Paul,
like
you
that,
tell me.
But they hold some sort of like
Have some eggs. Yeah.
there's some kind of life in there, and it's an inert matter essentially. So I think that's a good explanation for like why haunted objects exist, right? Like why would a doll, we both have a doll behind us, what might be haunted might move. I think that stuff that we're all made out of, the carbon-based life forms and wood and these things are all essentially the same stuff, has the ability to hold a consciousness at least for a time.
Do you think that the Schumann resonance, of the whole planet is like a conduit for information? I mean, I've kind of thought that's like our telephone wires. You connect into it and the information can be transmitted through that vibration.
I like that. Yes, I believe that because I'm very into vibration and frequency. So
the whole world is vibration and frequency.
It's the whole universe is basically that.
We're all
but our
light
solar
beings
system,
at the end of the day.
right? But our solar system, if you're gonna, go like that with the sun and everything, yes, I definitely agree with that. Because it does play parts. The sun does, the moon does.
Oh,
our
that's
solar
why
system.
we track
The
that
original
information
gods,
through
right?
investigation. Yeah, we get the moon phase, the
Yes,
geomagnetic storms, blah blah.
the CMEs, the everything. Yes,
And again,
I agree with you.
They are the original gods, the sun god, the moon god, to where we all come from.
Great conversations. I love all
You're gonna
this
have to put
stuff.
crickets on that one. I like what now?
No, I was actually just thinking I need to send you guys an EVP. We have we were investigating a museum, and it's funny because we were in the dinosaur room, and we actually have a growl that sounds like what you would expect granted we don't know what they sounded like, but it's what you would expect a pterodactyl to sound like.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
everybody's like, it's a chair that moved. Nope, there are no chairs in the room. It's someone's stomach. Well, the EVP, my digital voice recorder, was on a display like 10, 20 feet away from me while we were doing the session. So it wasn't, and nobody reacted to it either. But it literally sounds like a dinosaur growl going on behind what we were doing in the room.
Oh, that's
cool.
amazing.
That's cool. Like a little
It's
Jurassic Park
interesting.
going on.
It's almost like the when you look up into the stars, we're supposed to have some kind of supernova or something that we're supposed to see. I don't know when, soon though, but it's like, I don't know, 13 million light years away. So it happened 13 million years ago, and we're just seeing it now.
That just blows my mind.
Me
know.
too.
It's hard to
You
think
know,
about
it's
it.
like, let me ask you.
It's a lot to unpack.
Oh, you got another question? I have one
Yep.
for him after you finish.
Okay.
Go ahead, Heather.
Stephanie wants to know if you cleanse your home or free it of negative attachments.
We
Yes.
do, and that's where the Chinese wash comes in
Yep.
to play.
I
among
do
other
my own
things.
thing as well. Like I said, I'm an eclectic witch, so I have other things. It depends what I feel like in my home, what's in my home, and I will go from there.
Yep, I used anything
It
from
sounds
spiritual
like me.
magic to lesser banishing
Great.
rituals or other things. Sometimes it's just tell it to go away.
God's sake, I have holy water. I've got everything. So yeah,
Yeah, we got
whatever it
a lot of
is
stuff back there.
that it's the feeling of, that's what we do. I think she had asked before that about what we do before we go into like cemeteries or places or anything.
What about
I
yeah,
have my
chickens?
own thing actually, and Chris does his own thing because we're kind of different in that background. So yeah.
I think an interesting talking point would be how spirit and alien abductions can be very similar and affect sensory things, right? So we had an experience where when we were in the aforementioned spider gates, and this particular recorder here, this DR5, this Tascam, Kristen had this on with like noise canceling headset, and she's walking and I'm walking next to her, and we both heard somebody go hello, like really really
And
loud.
it echoed through the
And it made us
the woods.
and we were like frightened by it, and we were looking around for who did that. We both heard it in real time. When we played the recorder back, it wasn't in there,
Nor this one.
right? So that's a pretty interesting thing, how your eardrums can be manipulated like a microphone. And
Telepathy that was in your brain wasn't really in your ears.
Right.
well, I think it was in ears. I think the eardrums did rattle. I think
Oh,
the
they did?
physical
Yeah.
thing. I think so. I mean, how do I prove that?
I know
don't-
it did because I
I
had
don't
the
know.
headphones on. So
This is very similar to alien abduction phenomena, where one person in a group sees the alien or sees the UFO, which has been reported like thousands of times. I just heard a story today. It was Bud Hopkins back from 1997 talking about a family who's driving in a car, and they see this 4-foot, or the woman driving sees a 4-foot owl like peek over the hood and like fly over the car, but it has no wings. It is an alien, and she has more alien. She gets abducted by aliens eventually, I guess. But she saw it. Nobody else in the car saw it. Everybody would see this thing. So her sensory was changed to match what they wanted her to see.
Right.
And that's fascinating, right?
Well, it's like a disembodied voice. In December, we on an investigation, and we had like 6 of us in this small room, and half of us heard the voice say no, and the other didn't hear it at all. I mean, right where the voice sounded like it was coming from, one of the people was like, I didn't hear anything. And we're like, you didn't hear that? It's the same thing. Half heard it and half didn't.
Right. It's the experience.
Yeah.
And people get away from the experience of the paranormal. You can get too hung up on the tools.
Yeah.
That was probably the most paranormal thing that happened that day. And that included Toby and some other stuff that was really, really cool. But oh my God, like we literally jumped up in the air.
yeah.
Like, wow, it scared the crap out of her. Now she can only hear what's coming through the recorder because of the setup.
Yeah.
Plugged in listening in real time through the recorder. It's not on the recorder.
Yeah.
Yet we both heard it, right? So like, how do you
really
explain
weird. And it's not, and we had this little recording and it's not on here either. So
More questions. The more we do, the more
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
I
you
get
know,
the more the rabbit holes we go down.
Right,
Yes.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
just a couple examples.
Fascinating
There's other
and
places you
exhausting.
can
It's like,
talk
what?
You're right.
about. Those are pretty cool things.
We
And
completely understand what you're
I like how the alien abduction phenomena seems to follow a lot of the haunting phenomena
Yeah.
as well. You know, Steven Spielberg, when he made Close Encounters, had
Mm-hmm.
folders of paranormal investigations on his desk that he was going through, and he used those things, and you see, you know, poltergeist activity in that movie. There's a reason why, because they're very similar.
A lot of people believe that spirits and aliens are one and the same.
They do. Yeah.
Yep.
Or shadow people. The
Or
one
angels.
theory is it's people having outer body experience, the astral traveling, and it's their shadows of their souls that are the shadow people. That's one theory I've heard.
Mm.
It's like,
Oh, that's dark. I mean, people's shadow self
It is dark.
is a pretty dark self, right? When you look at like Carl Jung and the psychology behind one's shadow, but we all have them. You know, we all have these kind of dark sides. And if you mentally project them, like you mentioned earlier, if people maybe are projecting the EVPs, if they project their dark side, then that's a handful. And
Oh,
I don't
good
think
Lord.
you want, either of our dark sides out there haunting your house.
Has anything absolutely terrifying happened to you in the recent years that's made you think, oh, maybe we need to let's go to Disney World or something for a while?
Oh yeah, the Evil AM band. That was the thing. It's a funny name, but so the story behind that, I guess, just to explain, is we were in Spider Gates and we had gotten this name Abigail Houghton back a few times as well, and we looked up the name. It was a person buried there, though the grave is not marked Houghton. It was marked with their married name, Abigail Houghton. So we kind of got in this Houghton kick, and trying to look historically into who that might have been and who the Houghtons were. We found that there was a bigger, more illustrious cemetery not too far away that had this Houghton mausoleum. And it turned out the mausoleum, there were news stories coming up that had been broken into 3 times over the years. And the last time a person had broken into it was a high priest of Santeria, and he had actually taken the bones out.
And there was 2 children buried in there.
Adults, and stole the bones, and somebody ratted him out. It was kind of an interesting story. Yeah. And like the police raided his house, and like he had bones and things going on, and they thought, well, that's a good place to start, right? So we go there. There's a place called Houghton Mansion. It's not far from there. It's not real close, but you might have heard of that. It's a pretty renowned spot. It used to be open for public investigations, but it hasn't been for a number of years. So we wondered if there was a connection there, but we went to the mausoleum in the public cemetery, Hope Cemetery in Worcester, which is beautiful, by the way. Gorgeous, giant sculptures in there and that kind of thing. Very artistic. What's his name? Who's buried there? The father of rocket science. Robert Goddard's buried there. Anyways, we go there and we put on the AM band and we hear this, and it says, it speaks. And it's this kind of creepy, cryptic thing. And it's just going on and on and on. Well, we started to obsess on that, and we started to get it in other places, and it started adding words, and it built into this thing I think I described a little bit earlier called the Evil AM Band. And that was where we really got into it, because it was so weird. It was calling us hybrids. It was saying hybrids. Yeah, really weird stuff that was just like so far out, and it was hard to connect. And his name, Frank Houghton,
kept coming up,
Houghton, as opposed to Abigail that I mentioned, kept coming back, and we started getting this idea like Frank is buried outside of the cemetery, and like all this weird stuff.
It kept saying Spike.
It got weird.
It was a spike in him, and
rabbit hole.
It was so bad, and that's why we obsessed on it.
Questions you thought you could answer through the spirit box, the more it opened up other questions.
It almost sounds like a treasure map of words.
It really was.
Exactly.
It really was. But
excellent,
they were all connected, like sort of.
Yeah,
like it's a lot to play. That's why I didn't play any of those clips, because they're all sort of connected and they build into something
mind melding.
And we still don't know, but we kind of think there is like some very unhappy spirit out there whose body is probably not buried where it should be.
Yeah,
and it might be an alien.
And we kept getting. It's weird though. Inside the it's speaks. We get tones.
We sound totally wacky.
I know we sound bananas.
Oh,
But
please, we talk to dead people. Come on. Nothing could be weirder than
It was obsessive. We had to walk away from that one.
Yeah, but not only that, but inside the inside, like the white noise or the wherever, whatever it's doing, it starts doing tones.
Oh yeah, the whistling.
The tones. It's not even a whistle.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. If you're interested in this, like seek out our podcast on it. Find Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast wherever you get podcasts. And
have you played it backwards?
AM band. I will tell you all about it.
That's the most craziest shit we've ever been through right now so far. Yeah, didn't mean to swear, but honest to God.
Fascinating, though.
The designers of Pepper, we really wanted to know the answer.
Stuff. Yeah.
But that's when we started haunting our own homes, and we had to walk away.
Yeah. So,
were you getting oppressed by the obsession? Was it affecting your emotional self?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
You knew, you were aware enough to just like, okay, we got to cut this out.
Mm-hmm. This is not helpful. Nothing was working. The Chinese.
I constantly felt negative all around.
Anything.
Everywhere I went.
It was getting to the point where we felt really haunted all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. So good that you saw that and knew, like, got to nip this in the bud.
Well, the best banishing was to not think about it anymore, and to focus on other things and just leave it alone.
But you have to make a conscious effort to do that. Like, we're cutting this out.
Exactly.
Yes. We're putting our thoughts elsewhere. I mean, that's not so easy to do sometimes.
No,
it wasn't, but we kind of went to another project, which helped us.
Yeah. Keep you occupied.
Yes.
Yeah. We let it go. We really did.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've known different people that, a lot of people that do ITC are always looking for the bad stuff, the negative stuff. And, that's not what ITC was originally developed for. And I kept warning this one person, you have got to get away from this darkness. You're going to have some really bad problems if you don't stop obsessing with these demons and this scary stuff. Ended up being homeless, losing everything, losing the job, car fall. It's like,
that sounds like
it's going to happen. I mean, that's when you live in the negative, your life is going to be negative. He was obsessed with it.
Way overused, but the obsession. It's interesting that. Wow, I hear a lot.
Wow, I hear hissing.
What about it? About us?
Hello. What would you like to say?
No, we hear a lot of background noise.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I want to say something.
Yeah, getting a little hiss there. There it goes.
Wow.
Anyways, I love ITC. You want to talk ITC? I love the roots of it, beginning with like Tesla and his crystal radio, and he initially thought that he was hearing his dead relatives and dead people. Then he thought they were aliens, and a lot of it was atmospheric. But that's fascinating because there were no radio stations then, so anything he was hearing is interesting. Moving on to things like
what's his name? Rodive?
Yeah.
Rodave?
Thank you. We can't.
Thank you. I say it wrong every time I say it on any kind of radio station.
Constantine
Rodave, yes.
He came back and talked to all his friends after he died.
Yeah, some really great stuff. He made some records.
It's controversial, but
very cool.
I love
Spiricoms.
George Meek.
Yes.
All of our forefathers.
Sure.
It's like, Frank Sumption, he started his Frank's boxes to talk to aliens, and then guess who popped up? Dead people. So that's how his Frank's boxes.
He ended up getting a nickname, and I only found this out recently, like the Purple Princess or something.
Oh yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was one of his people on the other side gave him that name.
Yeah, it was a Pleiadian or something. They told him that it was female and an alien.
Yep.
Frank Sumption, the Sumption box. Yeah,
I was lucky
I do like the
Spiricom
too.
2 years ago. My pride and joy is my Frank's box.
You have a Frank's box?
I do.
I am jealous.
I prayed to the universe for years for it to come my way, and
That
Few
is
years
awesome.
ago it did, and it's.
I love the way you said that. You prayed in the universe.
I did. I
you
put
are
it out
Right with you.
constantly. Universe, if you want me to have
fan.
it, send it to me. Because I don't know, felt connected to it somehow.
That's wicked
That's
cool.
great.
That is really cool. They are rare.
Hmm. And I've only had it out on a couple occasions. It's not to be used for just any kind of ITC work. So, what do you think about people contacting their own loved ones using ITC for grieving and for healing? What do you think about that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Nope. I just wish they would.
I'm sure there
they
are
might
instances where
back.
something might have stepped into that role. And I
Yeah.
think we're going to talk about roles that maybe led them astray, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think they can communicate through ITC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do any direct radio voice where you just put it on one station, a static, and leave it? And
I've tried,
yeah,
but I have not had a lot of success with that.
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it's really tough. And I think you really need to put a lot of time in and energy, like literal energy into the box to get results from that.
Do you know Ron Yacovetti? Lives in New Jersey, New York. He does a lot of ITC. You would enjoy talking to him. He did a presentation on Ghost Dead, and he does a lot of direct radio voice work. But man, it's dedication, and I'm just too lazy for it.
Yeah, it does. It takes years of practice. Annabella Cardoso, I think.
Yes.
You're saying her name right? Yeah. Like she uses a shortwave radio and like the spirits didn't talk to her for something like 3 years, but she never stopped.
No, that's like
she had a break, and I feel like over a 20-year career of doing it, just one station on shortwave, just listening and
white noise
to the operators, right?
Yeah.
And what she gets is amazing. Like her data samples are fantastic.
The band she uses is their national emergency band, so there's no interference on it, which is really, I mean, for it to be pure and
she's got it up for false positive in like every possible way, right? But I also got to say, like, I think having the DJ noise, having the commercials, having the sweeping bands, lends itself to more communications.
I agree.
And it's not hard. You know, is it false positives? Absolutely. Sure. Of course, it's inviting it in, but it's also like a painter's palette for spirit, I think. And it can use that. I mean, I've heard environmental noises, birds, crickets, things of that nature.
Oh, we've heard birds,
like working their way into some of the communications that we've received.
Do you ever use a background noise when you do EVP sessions? Like this, we just tried using the Sherman Resonance on a phone app that does frequency generator. That's what I was trying to say. Have you ever done
white noise?
Like either, I mean, this one app has a running water sound effect, and it has a fan sound effect, and it has.
I've done that too.
She's done it with the fish tank. I think
I've done it with my fish tank.
Yeah.
Wow.
It just gives them a vibration and a frequency to manipulate.
Definitely agree with that.
You start to hear things in it. Yeah. So then you start to have to look at that apophenia, right? Like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. It's subjective sometimes, but sometimes it does seem a little undeniable. Like, I heard the name, even though it's running water. Yeah.
It's like the spirit calm, is that how you say it?
Spiritcom, yeah, that George
lends to a lot of like you your mind starts making things up after a while after you listen to it. It's like,
well, there's a lot of controversy about it, right? Whether it's even real, but they used male tones. I think it was something like 13 male tones of like kind of thing, along with electronic frequencies, like on top of that. But I guess. And I don't know the whole story. I don't remember it, but there's a chance the whole thing could have been fake. But I think it's a great idea.
Do you use any ITC apps?
I like Echovox. We've used Necrophonic is like on purpose creepy, but we've had it work. So, like, you know,
Whatever.
anything can work.
We were in Wilson Castle, for goodness sake, and
Mm.
Shay Carroll from Paranormal Buzz Radio, she had her necrophonic out, and it actually was saying what is it? The spirit box was saying, and everything was saying.
What our friend Celine was getting on
On
her
an
kind
app.
of Ovilus-like app.
Yeah.
Like, she was
phone
getting
app.
a word. The way that rolled is like it said drop on Celine's app.
Right.
Like we wrote it out. And then she says, like, drop aloud, and the necrophonic said drop, and then
It was
a chair
insane.
collapsed with Shay's
Mom in
mother
it.
that
So
was in it, and then she dropped. She literally dropped.
Yeah,
Like, it all happened in a span of like 3 seconds.
whatever the
Crazy.
spirits want to touch and do. I know
And
some people don't like the apps,
The
but
cat ball went off or something.
oh, there
Like,
was 3
everything
of
was
the
like-
cat balls
it was
going
crazy.
off. So
But
at the
yeah,
same
they do
time.
work. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah,
I think
sometimes they do.
necrophonic's a little on purpose. Creep.
My God, you had Chris Carr on one of my apps. I
Yeah.
said, yeah.
Mhm.
who-
It was buried in here, and it says Chris Carr
yeah.
very
so-
clearly, which is my name. My last name is Carr. So yeah, I think they can work, but I think they're just more subject to false positives. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look
If
at
if it's got programmed actual words in it, you have to be very objective and use critical thinking. And a lot of people will just automatically, if you say a certain app, they're going to go, "Oh God, no."
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Echovox, I love. I mean, that out of all of them, I mean, it's $20. I think it's a great investment.
It
Right.
is. It's kind of cool. I think
Yeah.
they do some inventive things. I like the one where you can sweep your hand on the touch screen, and
Yeah.
that was kind of neat. And it seems level. You know, it seems like they're not trying to play too many games with it, but it's working off a bank of words too. So, but again, anything can work.
Yeah.
You know, some people like some of the silly apps.
Thank you. I was just going to say that.
Instrumental transcommunication
Yeah.
is ITC.
Yeah. Say that again.
Instrumental transcommunication.
Yeah. Using electronic devices for communicating, like radios. That's mainly what it is, or radios.
Yeah. You can get into like video, and there are people
Yeah.
that do like some pretty cool stuff with the feedback loop where they point a
I've
camera
done some of that. Experimented
monitor.
with it. Yeah. that's fun to
Have you
do.
had success with it?
Was that Jamie? Was that her name? Yeah.
Mhm.
Try to find the documentary Calling Earth about Marcello Bacci. That'll explain a lot about ITC.
Yes. I
That's
think
a
it's
great.
a BOCI or BOCCI, I think.
I think it's
Yes.
CC. I can't. Yeah, make sure you get the one that's English dubbed, or it's in Italian.
Yes.
But that showed you what ITC was really for. It's for healing and communicating and getting proof that life is continuing after we leave our bodies.
Yes.
Consciousness persists.
Yes.
And all signs point that it does for me and for Kristen. We believe it does through ITC and other means. We believe it absolutely.
You wouldn't be doing it and this passionate about it if you really didn't believe. I mean, something that your heart and soul's not in, you're not going to do it. I look at it that way.
Yes. Yes, we agree with you.
Now, do you have
Absolutely.
kids? You say you have kids?
We do. We have children.
I have 5.
Do they think mom's crazy, or are they into it, or what?
Okay. So 3 of them think I'm bananas. And 2 of them are a little into it, but they're not. They actually embrace their gifts, basically. So
Yeah. Do you play data for them, and they go, "Oh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it."
yes, 2 of them, I have, and they're like, "Oh my God, get away from me!" That's one of them. I'm like, they're like, I don't want to hear any of this. They're kind of like what I was growing up. So, and I've explained my story to them, and
Yeah,
so they know.
that's cool. It's so cool to have
My
a mom like
daughter
you.
is 23, likes it, and my son is now 15. Doesn't. He's turned into a materialistic scientist.
Oh,
He's been indoctrinated by the educational system
uh-oh.
of the United States, and now he thinks logically in all possible ways. And Dad, but he used to like it. He used to
Yeah.
spell words like ghost for me and stuff.
If he can be an authentic skeptic where he will look at the evidence and the data before forming an opinion. I'm cool with that. It's the people that right off the bat are going to say it's not possible. It's like,
Yeah, I
well, read this first before you say that.
Exactly. I'm not happy with those people. I don't really, like those people too much who don't have open minds and just go and do some research on it. And,
it's an experience, it's that time you just get the thing you cannot explain that it helps bridge those gaps. And, it's not in a textbook.
What was that?
Do you have a dog?
They're asleep.
I thought somebody was making a sandwich or something.
That was interesting.
Come on. Your white noise is interesting in that background. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this.
Jamie wants to know real quick, what's the author's name again for Calling Earth?
I don't know if there's really an author. It's a documentary, but it focuses on a man in Italy called Marcello Bacci. And he had an old giant tube radio with the old vacuum tubes, and people would gather at his house and they would sit and their loved ones would come through the radio and let them know that they were okay. And sometimes they had apports fall through the air.
Oh, goodness, we know all about the apports. Yes.
I would think they're fascinating.
It's just amazing.
A better way to put that.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other category.
I was just going to say it's a whole nother podcast because we can get into that a lot.
I haven't had any experience with the apports at all yet, but it would be really cool to do. I understand there are apport museums, one being in Canada and one being in the Philippines.
Yeah, the Philippines, really? Huh.
That's where the first one started. Yes.
It was
actually in somebody's house.
Mystical place.
Yeah.
I think I had one once at an investigation. It was in an old textile mill that had been turned into apartments, and one of the residents was having a serious issue. And I don't know, I'm a medium, so I knew what two of the spirits in the buildings were, and I knew an approximate time period. So we had taken a break and we'd gone outside behind the building, and it is a big dirt parking lot, gravel, everything. And I'm just standing there, drinking my iced tea, and I looked down, and right in front of me was a brand new shiny penny that said 1941.
Really? Oh, wow. Was that one of the dates you were thinking of? Or you got,
right in front of me in that gravel, huge parking lot.
Wow.
And it was shiny like it had just been made, and I'm like, what?
That does sound like an apport. Yes.
Yeah.
How do you wrap your head around that? I can't.
How is that in this whole giant gravel dirt parking lot? It's right in front of me.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Interesting.
That's neat.
I love it.
I'm assuming you saved that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've got it somewhere in this room. Any
Very
questions,
cool.
Heather?
Just someone sharing a book, wondering if any of you have read it. The Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss.
I have not.
I have not either.
Sounds intriguing to me.
It does.
I've got 4 books over here waiting for somebody to read them to me.
I'm reading like 4 books
that.
right now.
I make Chris read books to me.
Any of them.
My dogs can't read, unfortunately.
My cats gave me one thing.
You got to train the spirits in your home to read to you.
I really have been asking them for years. Can you help me with the dishes and the vacuuming and everything?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
I can get Audible. I want them to do the dishes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
That's the dog hair. Yeah.
There you go. What was the name of that again? I'm going to write it down.
Oh. Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. He says it's all about past lives.
Thank you.
So I'll go back to the Spider Gates thing. I know we're probably running out of time pretty soon.
Yeah.
We did get a pretty good EVP there as well. Right after we heard that hello, and we were looking around to see who had done it, and there was nobody there. And understand, like, there's a dirt road off the main road. You got to go down about a quarter mile. It's like a dirt path. It used to be a main road, but they built an airport. Not an airport, but an airport. There in Worcester. It's Worcester Airport. And the housing is all gone. The people moved because it was right on top of the airport, right? So you got to go down this dirt road to get to it. Nobody around. I jumped up on the wall. I was looking for people. There's a stone wall. It's about 3 feet high that surrounds that said cemetery. And looking up and down the road, I kind of jumped off it, and one of the rocks fell off. And it wasn't, the big slate, but it was loud enough. It made a noise. It hit another rock that had already fallen. And you hear that in this clip. And that kind of scared us too at this point. Now we're like,
you hear me swear in it but we cut it out.
We bleeped it.
We bleeped it.
Yeah.
We thought ahead. And you'll hear a sort of old English voice go, "Rock 'twas old."
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Just bring that up.
This scared the shit out of me.
I slowed it down at the end. Did you,
Yeah.
were you able to catch that on the stream?
That's a definite
Why-
accent there.
Why
Yes.
is he saying, but the rock was old, or rock was old? We think it is old still, but in his realm, is it not? What's happening with the twas?
We
Yeah.
don't know, but what was interesting was we found out that somebody else that we knew, like later, a gentleman named Sam Baltrusis, had also investigated the same area and encountered the same gentleman. And we had this idea, kind of psychic impression of what he looked like.
Yeah.
When we interviewed him, we talked about it offline, or maybe on the air, I forget. And we played him that clip. And he's like, "That's the guy."
Wow.
And he's
We
very,
call him gatekeeper.
we call him the gatekeeper. He's very clairvoyant. And apparently, he found a lost set of keys for somebody that was on his investigation.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
So it's kind of cool. It's the same idea. And like we saw him kind of like dressed the same way and described it. He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that's him. That's exactly how I saw him."
Sounds very friendly and willing to help.
I guess it wasn't scary.
No.
That wasn't a scary moment. Although we were frightened by the hello, and we assumed that maybe it was
That's
him.
a little startling, yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
was very
startling, but not
startling.
scary.
Especially in your ears when you have headphones
Well, then
on.
that's when you say, "Can you do that again?"
Yeah, right.
And of course they won't, because,
Yeah.
oh,
We need that on t-shirts. Can you do that again?
yeah. Oh, nice.
What's the oldest grave in there? Do you have any idea?
I used to know this by
It
heart,
was
and I
in-
forget now.
They didn't have it labeled because they had no idea.
The birth wasn't
The
labeled.
birth
The death
wasn't.
was
Yeah,
Because
because it was
there.
so old, and it was.
They go back. I mean, they're not the oldest
1600s.
cemeteries in New England. There are some older ones, but it's a pretty old cemetery. I think it's.
Is it-
might have been 1690 something. I want to say.
Yeah.
is it maintained
I'd have
at
to-
all?
Yes.
It is.
It is.
Believe it or not, even being in the woods, and it does have a reservoir around it as well, and all kinds of streams. So of course there's energy there as well.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it is really maintained very, very well.
Good.
We were very
Yeah, it's well maintained.
There's so many
people
beautiful
do-
cemeteries that are abandoned. Oh,
Literally.
breaks my heart.
I know, me too.
Yeah, it's not one of those. I mean, there are some of those we're fond of as well. Whenever we go anywhere, as we leave with more than we come in with.
We go with bags
We
and we
take-
clean up the garbage.
Yeah, we take plastic bags with us. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was
we clean it up.
thinking
Just
a few years ago,
just
starting-
broken beer bottles and all that.
trying to get paranormal teams to come together and one day a year pick a cemetery to adopt and clean it and do things, but I can't take on no more project at this point. I don't-
We understand.
Yeah, I don't know how
That
that
would
works.
be
I mean,
such a
there are
great
committees
thing.
that do that go around and they clean them and maintain the cemeteries. They try to repair the headstones in different towns and those kind of things, or counties, I guess. I'm not sure really how that totally works,
Mhm.
but everybody should do that. If you're going to go and visit boneyards,
Yeah.
clean it up.
But there is specific chemicals that you have to use on headstones. I was just reading something about that.
Mm.
That works with enzymes. There's not bleaches and chlorines and things. They work with enzymes to get rid of the natural fading and the things that grow on headstones.
That's correct. Yeah, some of
Yeah.
the stones are very sensitive,
Yeah.
even to things like if you I forget the word for it, where you take a pencil etching. Yeah, you're
You
etching.
have the book right there.
I do. I have a book on it.
Yeah.
And it tells you, to be careful of those things because you can damage the stones. Like
Sure.
stone is very soft,
Mhm.
and tends to look very faded. A slate is, very fragile when it's that old.
Heather, that's another one of your projects. You should start a paranormal team cemetery cleaning campaign.
Oh, I like that.
Cleaning service.
Yeah.
We'll clean your boneyard.
Like I need another project.
Hey, you have plenty of time, girl. Ain't nothing going on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
Anybody can do it. You can do it.
I'll add it on my
Kinda
list
like
of
power
favorite things to do.
Yeah, add it on your list.
I love the art on old headstones.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're beautiful. And the
Especially
meanings
up
behind
in
some of them are
England.
so odd what it means compared to what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's
Look at.
fascinating. Like certain areas had the same
Just one
artist,
guy.
like if one guy was servicing a few different towns.
Yeah.
You can tell because all the headstones look the same. He does the same death head, and
Yeah.
a couple different cemeteries. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Our time is about
Yep.
winding down.
Yes.
We're getting there. So Chris and Kristen, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Well, you can find us on the Paranormal United Network and Pun TV. At on Thursdays, we're Dark Horse Paranormal podcast. And on Saturdays, we're Bigfoot and the Bunny.
Dark Horse Paranormal is on at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and Bigfoot and the Bunny is on Saturdays, like Chris said, at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
That's right. And you can also find our podcasts, our audio podcasts, which are completely different.
Mhm.
Just searching for Dark Horse Paranormal. Dark Horse Paranormal Productions is just really us and our friend Seraphine Hurley, who is doing her own show called Infinite Inquisition, which is new to Pun TV. And you can find our own pages like the Facebook, .com/Bigfoot and the
Dark
Bunny.
Horse
Look for
Paranormal
Dark Horse Paranormal
on YouTube.
On
is
YouTube,
where
which
you're
we
gonna
need
get.
people like our Facebooks are doing good, but we need you guys to go and subscribe to our YouTube.
Please.
Would really
People
appreciate
forget
it.
about the YouTube subscriptions. We need those. Come on, people. Let's get to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Pretty much
March
anything.
13th? What you're premiering something March 13th? You're going live. What is that one? I saw on your website something.
March 13th. Are we going live somewhere?
I don't know.
It's
Oh, I probably said something. Your new show starts. Well, maybe that was old news, but it said
No.
March 13th.
Maybe that was I don't know. We're live every Thursday and every Saturday.
And every Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a live show. And you can find some non-live stuff like we
How
could do.
did you get Dark Horse Paranormal? How did you come up with that? It's such a cool.
Dark Horse is an underdog. And I mean, immediately conjures images of like Dracula and Nosferatu.
Mhm.
And in our introduction video, I use a lot of the Nosferatu footage because it's copyright free, frankly.
For one.
But the name, it goes way before I've ever made that.
Yeah.
It's a live show. I like the idea of being an underdog.
Me
We're
too.
from New England,
And
Red
Bigfoot
Sox,
and the
please.
Bunny. How did you come up with that?
Oh goodness, that's
That's a good story. Bigfoot and the Bunny is, well, all right. I was living in a different place than we are right now,
Mhm.
but that place had a dividing row of hedges where a family of bunnies lived in the dividing row.
They're so cute.
They were, and we were having some weird activity and things because things happen when we're together.
Actually, that's when Spider Gates was going on.
Yes. This was all kind of happening at the
But the
same
bunnies
time.
were good.
We were outside. We were observing the stars, as it were, in the front yard. And back then, we were drinking quite a bit of sangria. We used to feed the bunnies the fruit from the sangria, but I was supposed to tell you that. Anyways, we're looking at the sky, and we saw a UFO, if you will, an unidentified, at least to us, flying object. It was moving faster than a jet, but a little slower than like a shooting star. So we both saw it.
It wasn't a meteor. It
wasn't a meteor. No,
orange.
It wasn't that fast.
It was like an orange
but it was
orb.
way faster than a jet.
And we just watched it sail. All I could do was just point up. I couldn't even say anything.
and
it just sailed across the horizon. No tail on it. No nothing. Just.
And we had
sailed.
this other activity. I said the next thing you know, see Bigfoot chasing a bunny.
and that's how the name.
That's great.
that was it. That's how
I was so curious about it. And I know other people probably were too. So
Yeah,
they do.
people
Yeah,
are,
they like the name.
Nothing to do with cryptids.
I've never been footing,
She's,
but I would go. I would love to go.
I would love to go. Yeah, love to go a foot.
quick, do
It
you
looks
think
like a good time.
Bigfoot is a cryptid or interdimensional?
I don't know. I have a thing
know.
about that, but that's another podcast.
Yeah,
entirely.
that's a great question.
got it.
I thought for the longest time he was interdimensional, and you look at some of that skunk ape footage, and I don't know. You think he's real? You ever seen the skunk ape out there in Florida, the southern parts?
You live in Florida. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen stories about it.
I've seen some pretty interesting footage.
My mom lives in Florida as well, so she hasn't seen him yet either.
He walks with a nice rhythm, though.
Yeah, he just. But anyway, we're just good.
Interesting. Something to look up.
Yeah.
Yeah, check
And
out skunk apes.
Speaking of your podcast, Philip and I will be on your podcast on January 27th at 9 p.m.
Absolutely.
Eastern. Looking
Yes, you
forward to that one.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
too.
we can't
We
wait.
can't wait to have you on, and we'll turn the
Turn the
Yeah.
table.
The table's
thing
on.
is. We'll turn the table. That's what it is.
I can't wait to hear the history of the doll in the back, and I just
Yeah, definitely looking forward
yeah,
to it.
we can't wait.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun,
Thank you.
and
Yeah, it's been a good
been
time.
awesome.
Yep.
Thank you for letting us.
Yep.
Play our
Love all
noise.
the stories. And Philip and I will be back. He's probably forgotten, but he's doing his Paranormal 101 presentation on February 2nd at 9 p.m.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
This is what you get when you tell me to control the schedule. No.
Oh my God.
What was that date again?
February 2nd at
Okay.
9 p.m.
You got to write that down or listen to the show back. So yeah, we go through this.
Oh
He'll
yeah,
get a link that morning from you. He'll be like, what?
What was happening?
That presentation, I mean, it's basically for beginners to people in the paranormal, but anybody can, watch and get something from it. But it is like the ABCs of paranormal investigating. So,
Oh, that's great.
I think that's great.
I like that.
Start somewhere. I think the first book I got on the ghost stuff, and I was already into some obscure arcane things, but not really in a ghost sense, was Picture Yourself Ghost Hunting by Chris Balzano.
Oh,
I'll
yes.
give him a plug because we like Chris.
Chris is our friend. He did the Bridgewater
And
Triangle.
he lives in Florida as well.
And he lives in Florida as well. Right now.
everybody but us live in Florida.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Well, we're freezing our butts off up
Everybody
here. So
Ken's
don't
down
complain.
there, and
Oh yeah, Ken
Seraphine's
Allen,
down there.
and Seraphine, and
Yeah.
sorry, we're plugging all our friends. Sorry.
Go ahead, plug away.
Thank you.
It's all good.
But it's wonderful. Thank you so much for letting
you so
us
much.
come on and
Yeah.
letting us having
Well,
on your show.
paranormal people together. I mean, we could talk for 5 more hours. I mean, seriously.
Absolutely.
Bring up the topic. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, all of us.
I get Paul to come sit on my lap. We can have him talk for a while.
Tomorrow.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, everyone, for watching.
Great.
And
Thank
we'll
you so much.
see you in 2 weeks. So you guys
Sounds
all have a great
awesome.
night.
I look forward to it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
In chat as well.
Bye.
Thank you.